Errors in spring training games. Tim Beckham will be at third base. Manny Machado back at shortstop. Jonathan Scope, the second baseman. And Chris Davis, the first baseman. Left to right, Trey Mancini, Adam Jones, and Colby Rasmus. Chance Cisco doing the catching.
And the first pitch from right. In there for a strike, and we're underway. So great to have you back in the booth, partner.
I'll tell you, I've been waiting a long time for this, Dave. Great to be back with you.
Mookie began his spring 0 for 16, but he's hit safely in 8 consecutive games.
And one thing I've noticed in the games that I've watched so far, he's been very aggressive, even though he falls down in the count here 0-2. He's been usually swinging at that first strike that he sees.
0-2. Jackie Bradley on deck. You know, it may be your first spring training game, but you've watched a ton of them. You've been in camp for weeks now, getting ready with all your prep. And, of course, you were in the booth about 7 o'clock this morning. And a wave and a miss, and he goes down on strike. So Mookie retired, one away.
Yeah, good breaking ball there by Wright to get Mookie to chase. And that's something you don't see very often. Him look bad on a swing. You can see the breaking ball right here. It's going to go down and away. And swinging above that was Mookie Betts for the first out of the ball game.
Jackie Bradley batting out of the 2 slot today. 206 for the spring without a home run, so trying to get locked in. And Eduardo Nunez to follow him. JD Martinez is yet to homer so far this spring. I don't think anyone's concerned about that any more than they were concerned that Mookie Betts started off 0 for 16.
This is the time, we talk about this every single spring, but when you get down to the last week, it's when guys really want to be swinging the bat well heading into the regular season. Quality at bats.
And a 1-1 from Wright. Last year, for most of the campaign, he was at AAA, went 4-6 with a 3.69 ERA. He did have him up with a big club for a spell. He made 13 relief appearances. Of course, the Red Sox announcing, Alex Cora announcing this week that, to no one's surprise, it'll be Chris Sale starting on opening day a week from today at Tampa Bay. 3-1. And a full count on Jackie.
That's really a good pitch for Jackie to hit there. 3 balls and 1 strike. He kind of looking for a ball middle in. That's exactly what he got, but he ends up taking it to run the count full.
17 home runs last season for Jackie and a cut and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Wright.
Yeah, go back to that 3-1 pitch. That's the pitch right there that you're looking for as a hitter. You're looking in a certain spot. He takes it for a strike, then they go right back to the fastball and throw it by Bradley for the second strikeout.
Chatting with Eduardo Nunez today about rejoining the Red Sox, and he's in a great frame of mind. His knee feels great. That's the single most important thing he talked about. And will be the everyday second baseman coming into the season as he flies that one to center field. And Jones there to backpedal and make the play. 1-2-3. Go the Red Sox here in Sarasota. We are underway. Well, the Orioles are coming up for the first time here against right-hander Hector Velasquez. We'll give you a look at their lineup. Chris Davis is going to lead things off, the slugger. He's only had a handful of at-bats this spring, so they're trying to get him as many as they can today. Manny Machado at short. Jonathan Scope, the slugger, at second base with Adam Jones in center. Trey Mancini, the left fielder. Colby Rasmus back trying to make the team. He's in right field. Tim Beckham at third. Chance Cisco, great name for a catcher. He's hitting 8th, and Anthony Santander is the DH and the number 9 man against Velasquez.
Now, Velasquez, one of those guys, Dave, that, he's not going to be overpowering. You see his numbers from 2017. In 8 games, made 3 starts, a 3-1 record. But he's going to be on the corners. He's going to mix pitches up. He can't overpower people. He's not that type of pitcher.
Spent 7 years in the Mexican League before the Red Sox signed him.
How about Davis' leadoff hitter today, huh? Trying to get some at-bats for him.
Yeah, only 16 at-bats so far this spring because of a sore elbow. So They're leading him off here this afternoon. At 26 home runs last year, but he only batted .215. Red Sox with an overshift on him. Ultimate pull hitter. And one of the many guys in their lineup who are going to hit a lot of home runs if they stay healthy.
Well, that's the key for this Baltimore ball club. You know they're going to hit with power and hit a lot of home runs. The question, obviously, is their starting rotation, which has been helped this week.
But a bunt attempt. Velasquez handles that, lobs it over to get him.
I'm not sure that's what Buck Showalter had in mind when he put him in the leadoff spot today.
Right.
Let's look at the Red Sox defense. They've made 22 errors in 26 games this spring. Ivan DeJesus Jr. will be at third base. Devin Marrero, the shortstop. Eduardo Nunez at second, and Sam Travis, the first baseman. Left to right, J.D. Martinez, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Mookie Betts, and Blake Swihart doing the catching.
I know everyone's going to shift on it, but dropping down a bunt there by Davis? I mean,
I think the whole idea right now when batting leadoff is to get at bats, get swings, save the bunts for during the season.
Or for the other guys. Here's Machado. He's having a big spring. He's hitting .419 with 3 homers.
Yeah, they put the shift on, and of course that's something you'd like to see in the regular season. Try to bunt that ball down to third base, but that time it goes right back to the pitcher, and almost like a wasted at bat for him here in spring training.
Maybe he was watching Mitch Moreland the other day when Moreland did the same thing and bunted for a double.
Yeah, you can see that. That's no question about it.
Machado, 33 home runs last year, shifting from third to shortstop this year. And he's been the big topic of the Oriole camp because he's going to be a free agent next year. And apparently had a little discussion with Aaron Judge of the Yankees when they played this spring, and Judge dropped a "hey, you'd look great in pinstripes" line on him.
Yeah, that's going to go on all season long for a guy like Machado. And strange seeing him move back to the shortstop position from third base. Usually it's the other way around. But he's a great athlete, and I'm sure he's going to be a spectacular shortstop this season. That combination of he and Scope around the second base bag should be very, very good.
Yeah, particularly on the offensive end. Scope in their lineup today, and he is on deck with Jones to follow. And inside for a ball. You're talking about Velasquez. Now, if Stephen Wright and Eduardo Rodriguez both can't get back for that opening series at Tampa Bay, it's been rumored that Velasquez could well be in the mix for that spot, but that's an open question. Mile-high pop-up into left. Marrero out. Martinez tracks it, makes the play, and 2 down.
Yeah, I think TC is going to have a lot more on that competition coming up, but I don't plan on Velasquez being there. I think they're going to go another direction, and it's going to be short-term anyway because Wright and Rodriguez are not that far away. As a matter of fact, you could see one of them in the Tampa Bay series.
And neither one of them would pitch in Miami the series to follow because, of course, that's a National League park and no designated hitter. Pitchers have to hit, but more importantly, they have to run on bad knees. Both of those guys coming back from knees. Scope here, 32 home runs, 105 runs batted in last year, almost hit 300, and that's from a second baseman.
And he's really improved over the years defensively at second base. Very, very good at turning a double play.
And he's hit 6 home runs this spring.
Good
Popped
jam.
up. Yeah, it got jammed big time. Here comes the first baseman, Travis. And it's a fast inning for Velasquez. He gets the Orioles 1-2-3 here in Sarasota. 25 news at 10. They'll talk about stories from where you live, stories people are talking about. Chief Weatherman Kevin Lemanowitz will keep you updated on all the weather. So if you want to know what's going on, watch Boston 25 News at 10. Enough of the nor'easters.
Yeah, it's time out now, right? It's time to start melting all the snow and getting the ballpark ready for opening day. Early opener this year.
Yes. April 5th for the Red Sox at home, and a week from today at Tampa Bay, J.D. Martinez leading off the second inning, no score. J.D. went 2 for 4, drove in 3 runs against Tampa Bay yesterday.
You know, it's interesting, Dave. I've been watching how they've been defending him in the outfield, and the Orioles right now are defending him by shifting a little bit toward right field. They have the center fielder Adam Jones in that direction. Other teams I see play him the pull in the outfield, but in the infield, but pretty much straight away in the outfield. I can tell you one thing. He can leave the ballpark at any place in the ballpark. Right field, left field, center field. He's got great power.
He's got the count his way, 3-1. Watching him this spring, you get a chance to see a guy, obviously more frequently now, that you only saw occasionally a year ago, 2 years ago. This guy's a good hitter.
Yeah, he is. And he's a student of hitting. I mean, he videotapes all of batting practice that he takes.
Pop to right, Rasmus. And Martinez 0 for 1. We've seen him take those ground ball base hits to right field when they've overshifted, when they've played him to pull. He's very content to do this. Hit 300 on several occasions in his career. One down for Christian Vazquez. What do you think about him batting in that cleanup spot? Do you like him fourth?
I do, because I really like the top two hitters in Betts and Benintendi. You kind of figure a lot of the times, and of course, Ramirez hitting third, one of those guys are going to reach base. So he's going to hit in the first inning with a man on base. That's going to happen quite a bit for him. So I do like it.
Vazquez coming off a .290 season with 5 home runs. So looking to build on a really nice offensive year. Puts a charge into this one. Jones racing back. He's turning around now, and that ball gets out of here. Vazquez puts a charge into it indeed, and the Red Sox have taken a 1-0 lead. Kind of exploded off his bat.
Yeah, well, it's a good day for hitters. That wind blowing directly out towards center field today, and it is pretty gusty. But that ball was hit well by Vazquez, his second home run of the spring. And, this guy made tremendous leaps and bounds last year offensively. There's that weight shift, little toe tap, and away it goes, straight away center field.
Into this one, Jones racing back. He's turning around now, and that ball gets out of here. Well, now the man who leads the Red Sox in home runs this spring, Sam Travis. He's hit 5. So once again, an outstanding spring for Sam. Driving the ball, showing genuine power. But the signs are not good as far as making the big league club. That's just not going to happen.
Well, that's what happens when you come into a team that has won 93 games for the last 2 seasons. There's just not many jobs available.
Alex Cora was talking about him today, and he said, you watch guys in spring training. And Alex said, I'm still trying to figure out how to evaluate players in the spring. Some guys are really swinging a bat great. Others don't. He said he was one of those guys who did not swing it well in spring training. But he was talking about Sam. He said, I know the telltale signs are there. He's a good hitter.
Yeah. Yeah. And Alex is exactly right. It's very hard to make judgments on players in spring training and also in the month of September when they expand the rosters. And mostly for teams that aren't in contention, obviously, because they call up more guys.
Yep. Now, one of the points he made, you saw him hit a home run over the monster at Jet Blue, and the very next at bat took a pitch away and ripped the line drive to right field and got himself a hit there. And he's going to take a close one for ball 4. So Travis is aboard, and Blake Swihart will be next, who is in very good shape to make this ball club. Ripped his 3rd home run of the spring yesterday. Sox up 1-0 on a Vazquez home run. Blake said he is having fun again after that terrible foot injury and surgery and a long road back. He's having a great time playing the game of baseball.
And you see Blake swinging at that first pitch, and we're going to see a lot more of that, I think, this season we have in the past with the Red Sox. Red Sox normally have been teams that try to wear down pitches, but the game's changed. Starting pitching is generally out of there in at least the 6th inning, even if he's pitching good, and it becomes bullpen games. So there's no real point in letting a pitch pass that you think is a good pitch early in the count, because the guy's not going to go 9 innings anyway. So if you get good pitches to hit early, that's one thing Cora has been preaching, that they want to take swings at him.
One and two on Swihart. This is a pretty seismic change for the Boston Red Sox.
It's going right through baseball, really, when you think about it. You watched the World Series, the playoffs last year, and everybody trying to launch baseballs out of the ballpark, doubles, home runs.
Red Sox, by their own admission, a little bit late on that, adapting to that. Maybe over the last year or so. Good stop by Cisco. But, you go out and you get a J.D. Martinez, a guy who hit 45 home runs, and you've got home run hitters in the lineup. It makes sense. And with Tim Hires, the new hire as a hitting coach, it's all about that now. It's attack early in the count if you get that pitch to hit.
Yeah, they want to get the ball in the air, and they've certainly been doing that quite often this spring.
Little dribbler, Beckham along the line in fair territory. Close play, and got him. Down to second, Travis. 2 gone.
But the game has changed so much, and I think it really started to change pitching-wise when Terry Francona in the playoffs a couple of years ago, when they started off against the Red Sox, and Tito figured out that the only way he could beat the Red Sox that year, because he got some guys hurt in the starting rotation, was have the starters go 3-4 innings and go right to that bullpen, and we're seeing more and more of that, I think, throughout baseball. Not 3 or 4, but 5 or 6 innings, and so you're having hitters now attack the ball a little bit earlier, because there's no sense in wearing down the starting pitcher. He's going to be out of there anyway. Even if he pitches well in probably 6 innings. So bullpens become so strong,
especially if you can do damage with that pitch.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. A lot of guys don't like to swing at the first pitch, but sometimes that first pitch fastball is the best one you're going to see in the whole at bat.
DeJesus Jr. has put on a pretty good display this spring. He's in 366. As a man at second, Red Sox on the board on a home run by Vasquez. Jerry Remy back in the broadcast booth and will be the rest of spring training, including a couple of games with the Cubs we have next week.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
The last 2 games of spring training against the Chicago Cubs.
See a lot of old friends. And then the Red Sox will hop over to St. Pete to open up the regular season a week from today. In there for a strike.
That ball just picking up the outside corner. Very good pitch there by Wright.
I mentioned the Sox have won 9 in a row for whatever that's worth in spring training, but the records say the Red Sox have never won more than that. Going back to the 1950s. 1951, I think it is. As far as consecutive games in the spring, tag to center field. Jones coming on. Can't make the play. It's behind him. That's going to keep on rolling. A run is in. Travis scores. DeJesus Jr. into second base, and will pull up right there. Red Sox lead it 2-0. Jones taking a chance and could not get to it.
Yeah, well, at this stage of the game, you do take a chance because you got 2 outs in the inning, and what you're trying to do, obviously, is save a run. You see Jones right there going to the dive. I think halfway through that dive, he knew he was not going to get it, but you're trying to stop the run from scoring, and the ball gets by him, another man in scoring position. But that is the correct play to try to make if you're Adam Jones.
So runner at second, another run in, and brings up Devin Marrero. Sox have 2 available spots for 3 guys. You got to figure Marrero, Swihart, and Brock Holt at this point in the spring. He's hitting .234 for the spring and looks at a strike.
Alex Cora was talking about him this morning also, the fact that he'd like to see him use the opposite field more. Not everybody is going to be home run hitters. And one thing he's done this spring is strike out a lot, 18 strikeouts. So a little bit more contact, man at second, use the whole ballpark.
Contact like that on the button into left field for a base hit. Going to send a runner, DeJesus Jr., and it's cut. He's in to score, and the Red Sox lead it 3-0. Exactly what his manager was talking about today.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. You know, just make some contact. You got those men in scoring position. Stay away from the strikeout. Cut down your swing a little bit. You're not the type of guy we're looking for to lift and launch and hit the ball out of the ballpark. We want contact at the bottom of the batting order, and that paid off that time for Marrero as he picks up the RBI. So, nice little offensive start here for the Red Sox today.
3 hits and a walk in this inning, and right back to the top of the inning. Mookie Betts struck out to begin the ball game, but he bats for the second time.
Might see Marrero go in this situation with Betts at the plate. You know, Mookie has the ability, obviously, to hit the ball out of the ballpark, but the Red Sox may try to get a man in the scoring position for Betts. If he's thrown out, you got Betts leading off next inning. And Marrero can run a little bit.
The 1-0 from Wright. Runner holding here, and it's a ball.
Now 2-0, I would not send him because I'd leave that for Mookie Betts. You know, 2-0 counts. You like to see that hitter just zoom in on one particular pitch, and of course for Mookie, that's a ball inside, a fastball inside.
Mookie 11 out of his last 22. And a strike.
Now that's all off. Now if they want to send Marrero, they can do it again. Tom Goodwin, new Red Sox first base coach. Great speed when he played.
Carlos Fabulous, the new third base coach. Here's the 2-1 from Wright. High fly into right. There goes Rasmus on the move, sailing back, and that ball is off the wall. Marrero rounds. Here's a play at the plate. They let it come through, and he scores. Mookie down to second. Tell you what, you get it in the air today, it's going to carry some.
Yeah, that breeze is very strong, blowing straight out. But again, a nice approach by Betts, you know, going into right center field with that. And Kobe Rasmus realized as soon as there was contact, he was not going to be able to get to that. Marrero kind of slowed up a little bit as he was coming into home plate. That made it closer than it actually should have been. But there you see the contact played by Adam Jones. Nice relay here by the Baltimore Orioles. And Marrero just getting that foot in, but he slowed up a few steps. That's not a good thing when you're trying to score from first base, but did make it.
And it does make it 4-0. Mookie down to second on the double. He's really come alive with the bat here in the last couple of weeks. So the Red Sox to bring up their 8th man in the second inning against Mike Wright, who again is battling to make the ball club for the Orioles as their 5th starter. Jackie Bradley trying to keep it rolling along. Jackie 0 for 1 with a strikeout. This is Wright's 5th start of the spring. His last one was Rocky 2, 4 2/3 against Toronto 5 days ago. Give up 9 hits. Well, Alex Cora has talked about in recent days his willingness to play Mookie Betts in center field on occasion. Move him from right field so that on the road anyway can play Martinez in right to center field. Jones has been a busy man. He makes the grab to retire the side, but the Red Sox get 4 runs here in Sarasota on top of the Orioles.
Have a 4-0 lead. Hector Velasquez back out on the mound for his second inning of work. David Wright and Jerry Remy before talking about the rotation when the season begins a week from today. Stephen Wright throwing 4 innings in a minor league game back in Fort Myers today, and we'll get you an update on him in a little while. So you wait to see how those guys coming off the injury are going to deal with. But we got a name that you might not have thought about. Now, yesterday, Marcus Walden threw 3 scoreless innings against a Tampa Bay team that had been hitting the ball well here at spring training. This spring, he's got a 0.69 ERA. He's a 29-year-old with 10 years of minor league experience. And I asked Alex Cora before the game if he was in the mix, and he said there's no doubt about it. This guy has caught everyone's attention in the organization. We're keeping a close eye on him. So put that name away, Obi. Marcus Walden, he's made an impression, and we'll see what happens come Tuesday.
Yeah, it goes to the point that we were making at the top of the show, TC, and all 3 of us, in fact, were talking about it earlier today. you can still win a job. You can win a major league job right now.
There's no question about that. Here's Walden right there, and he has been very impressive. Now, I have not seen a lot of him, but I know the Red Sox have really been thrilled with his work this spring.
That'll roll into center field, and Jones is on to begin the second inning. Now, Walden is a guy who has yet to appear in a major league game, broke into professional baseball back in 2007. The Paw Sox last year, 10-6, mainly as a starter, ERA of 3.92, but a non-roster invitee. Walden did appear on the active major league roster very briefly for Toronto back in April of 14, but did not appear in a game before they optioned him back to Buffalo. So we'll keep an eye on that. Is Mancini, 24 home runs last year while hitting .293, and a hitting style that fits right in with the Orioles. He doesn't mind if he strikes out, if he hits the ball over the fence occasionally, and he had a very solid year. It's been a mixed week for the Birds. An MRI revealed a right quad strain for slugger Mark Trumbo. He's going to start the year on the DL. The Orioles did sign Alex Cobb, the right-hander. You may recall he was born in Boston. 4 years and $57 million.
Yeah, that was a good signing for the Orioles because they are thin in the starting rotation, and they really needed somebody. I was kind of surprised Cobb was out there for so long.
Yeah, me too. I thought for a while maybe the Red Sox might show some interest in him.
Yeah, and the contract he eventually signed here with Baltimore, very workable. I mean, for a guy like Cobb. So that adds some strength to the starting rotation for the Orioles.
Mancini will strike out a lot, 139 times last year. Got jammed, busted his bat. Marrero in, up and over, and gets him. And down to second is Jones with one gone.
You know, it's weird. You know, generally you think about guys getting jammed. You think about hard throwers, guys that got good moving fastballs that can run inside. It's not particularly the case with Velasquez, but he's jammed a couple of guys so far in this game today.
Claimed a bat right there. Rasmus next. So Cobb will be joining Dylan Bundy, Andrew Kashner, Kevin Gausman, Chris Tillman to bolster their rotation. Although Cobb's not going to be available right away, they're going to leave him behind here in Florida when they break camp and pitch in some minor league games because he signed so late. Red Sox believe they had plenty of options at the back end of the rotation. Fouled by Rasmus. What an interesting story this guy is. Last July 13th, he's playing with Tampa Bay, and he just decided to walk away from baseball. He said, I'm stepping away from the game, and he just walked away. And that was the end of his season. They owed him a little over $2 million, but because of the way he left, they didn't have to pay him. And then he showed up in late February in camp for the Orioles and said, I wanted to give another try.
Well, sometimes the game mentally just knocks you out, and sometimes, you feel like walking away. Now, you got to have some dough in the bank to be able to walk away, to leave $2 million on the table, don't you?
Yes, sir.
But right back here he is with the Orioles.
Jones at second. Kind of a meager wave. That one overpowered him. Down he goes on strikes. First K for Velasquez.
Yeah, he was really fooled on that pitch. It's almost like for some odd reason he was looking for something off speed, some breaking ball, but he didn't get that. He got the fastball right there, and he was very, very late with the swing. I see this ball just about by him when he's going into that full swing mode.
Two away. Sends up to third baseman Tim Beckham. He came over to deal from Tampa Bay last year. Played very well. Hit over 300 with some power. Hit 10 home runs down the stretch for the Orioles. So he'll be at third base. He was their shortstop when he came over. With Machado now the everyday shortstop for Buck Showalter.
Now you try to put yourself in the spot of Velazquez today, and you know he knows what's going on with the pitching staff. He knows that this is a very, very big outing for him, and trying to shut him down and keep himself in the mix for a possible start in the big leagues. The other thing about these guys too, when you get to the end, you know, they may not make the 25-man roster as they break camp, but when you have to call somebody up during the season, a lot of what they did in the spring really makes a difference to the choice they make, and obviously how they're pitching at the AAA level.
Check swing foul. Now Velazquez made 8 appearances for the Red Sox last year, made his major league debut at Oakland. That didn't go very well. It was on May 18th. He gave up 6 earned runs in 5 innings, but after that, actually pitched very well. Went 3-0. So you toss out that first one, and he looked like he belonged. 2-2. Sox on top 4-0 here in the second. High fly left center. Jackie Bradley on his horse, still racing back. It carries and carries. It's going to be off of that wall out there. And did it get up and over? It did. That ball is gone. Beckham launching that one. And it is out of here for a 2-run shot. And exactly what you talked about when Vasquez launched his home run. That's exactly where you want to hit it.
Yeah, I didn't think on contact that ball was going to get out of the ballpark. I really didn't. But once the wind got a hold of it, Jackie Bradley Jr. just ran to that fence and couldn't get to it. But it looked like it didn't look like it was going to be deep enough to be a home run. At first, I didn't think the ball got out of the ballpark. I thought it hit the bottom of the wall.
I didn't either. But Beckham picks up the 2-run shot to get them on the scoreboard and make it 4-2. And he does have some pop in the bat. Again, he had 10 home runs last year when they brought him up. Cisco dropping down the bunt. Velazquez off the bare hand and gets him at first base to retire the side. Up into that gust of wind that'll help you today. Now 4-2 Red Sox. Sarasota, Florida. Red Sox leading at 4-2 over their division rivals, the Baltimore Orioles. Dave O'Brien alongside Jerry Remy and Tom Caron today. Each side with a home run in this one. Red Sox to come to bat again. It'll be Nunez, Martinez, and Vasquez.
Now you got to love what the Red Sox did last inning with 2 outs in the inning. Of course, Vasquez had that home run early in the inning. Then they put 3 hits together, the 8, 9, and 1 hitters, to pick up another 3 runs in that inning. So that's pretty good, the production out of the bottom of the batting order. DeJesus Jr., Marrero, and then, of course, Betts with the double, a drive, and a run.
Eduardo 0 for 1. He's flied out to center. 38 very impressive games for the Red Sox last year, in which he hit .321 with 8 home runs. So really flashing of power. That was a bit of a surprise for Nunez.
I'll tell you what surprised me is the fact that he never had surgery on that knee. When I saw him go down in that Houston series down at first baseline, just crumble, I said that's definitely going to be a big scar someplace on his knee.
Yeah, that very first at bat. But never any surgery, rehabbed it. And Danny Valencia now in the ball game at third. High chop. Machado with a long throw, but he's got a cannon over there, and that is out number 1.
Sure does. I mean, you know, I've not seen him at shortstop in a long, long time, but he made that play look very easy, and it was not an easy play.
Obviously a spectacular defensive third baseman.
Yeah, and you can see there, he knows his arm strength from shortstop, so he can go back on that grass, plant himself, and make the throw. He doesn't have to charge the ball. He can go back a couple of steps, and he's got that great arm to make up the difference.
JD going after the first one, and a fly pretty well hit, but Rasmus there to put it away. Second time that JD Martinez has done that today, so he's 0 for 2, and Vasquez will be next.
Who's coming to third base, Dave? I missed that.
Valencia. So Beckham out of there. And hitting 7th. Vasquez with a home run in the second. Solo shot to left center field. No personal catchers under Alex Cora. And even though Sandy Leon works so well with Chris Sale, obviously that worked great a season ago, and other guys may have their favorites. He says he's not going to go that way. It's whoever happens to be playing the best at that time.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that, because especially with a guy like Chris Sale, I mean, he puts whatever you put down there, he throws. He doesn't shake pitches off. And Sale's the type of pitcher that can pitch to anybody because he's so darn good.
So Vasquez will be the number 1 guy. And, of course, if Blake Swihart is on the ball club, the Red Sox will be effectively carrying 3 catchers. Well, Blake has been able to move around and play the outfield a little bit, first base, third base. Line to center field and drops down for a base hit. Nice start for Christian Vasquez today, 2 for 2.
Yeah, this is real nice stuff from Vasquez. Both times using center field. One time for the home run, and now dropping the ball in front of Adam Jones out there in the outfield. That's just nice hitting right there by Vasquez. Not trying to do too much with the ball. It's on toward the outside part of the plate.
Looking like that stroke that got him to 290 last season. Sam Travis now, he walked and scored last time. Red Sox leading 4-2, and a base hit to right past the diving Davis. Vasquez to third, and he'll stop there. So Sam Travis keeps on swinging it.
It's something you don't expect right there if you're playing first base. You get a big power guy up like Travis. You think about a fly ball or something that's going to go deep to the outfield. Instead, you get a ground ball at first base. It quickly gets by Davis. I think that ball went in a different direction than Travis expected it to.
First and third with 2 away.
Now see if the Red Sox have some 2-out damage in this inning also.
Blake 0 for 1. He's grounded to third. Hit a home run yesterday, and he hit it on a 3-2 changeup, batting left-handed. He said he was out in front a little bit on the pitch, and was one of his favorite swings of the spring. The result, obviously, he's very happy with. 0-2.
He was looking for that changeup down that time. Instead, he got a fastball up around the shoulders.
Do you feel like, as a hitter, you could hunt a changeup?
Never looked for one.
No.
Never did look for one. And because things like that happen when you do.
Yeah. 0-2. Sox already with 6 hits today. DeJesus Jr. on deck. He's another guy who's opened some eyes this spring. He's been hit about 370. And what a difference it is, and no one has to tell you this as an athlete, to be confident you can go out and do your thing, and the injury, whatever it was, is gone. And he was talking about that today, Blake, that it makes such a difference that He knows he can run on that foot, and there's no pain anymore. It's gone.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dave, 100%. I mean, there's nothing worse than being hurt in this game. You just don't feel like you're part of anything. There's some pretty good base running right there and some bad base running at the other end, but it's going to work out well.
Vasquez will be in to score as the Orioles throw it around, and Travis scampers down to third base. Red Sox caught a bit of a break there.
They certainly did. When Travis took off, I thought they had an excellent opportunity to get him at second base. And I think Vasquez, who was at third base, was also thinking the same thing, that they were going to throw to second. There you can see there's plenty of time to throw. He fakes throw, and then he's got Vasquez dead at third base, but makes a poor throw across his body. And the Red Sox get a gift.
And lead it 5-2 with a man at third.
Vasquez got trapped a little bit more down that line. He thought he was going to throw the ball at second base. That's why he was down that far, and then catches the break with the ball going by him.
Popped up, the catcher Cisco flips the mask, and a pitcher coming on now. The first baseman Davis will make the play. And that will retire the side of the Red Sox. Add another run and say thank you. Now leading at 5-2. Here in Sarasota at Ed Smith Stadium, which is one of the better spring training facilities in Major League Baseball. Jerry Remy, first spring training telecast today, alongside Dave O'Brien and Tom Caron. Red Sox with 5 runs, 6 hits. The Orioles 2 runs on 3 hits.
That's been a well-played ball game so far by the Red Sox. They've got some clutch hits. They forced a few mistakes in this ball game, so a good start for them. Velasquez okay until that home run, but Dave, you don't know how good it feels to be back doing this.
I can only imagine, after everything you have gone through, yet again, I mean, an incredible off season for you, and it actually started last summer.
Yeah, last June. Yep.
You were able to make it back for some broadcasts amazingly at the end of the season. I don't know how you did that after what you were going through, but chemotherapy, radiation following the surgery, and a million times all of us here in spring training were being asked, how's Jerry? How's he feeling? How's he doing? So right now, how do you feel?
I feel great. I was doing well at home, and then when I got down here the first couple of days, not so well. And that's because I hadn't been moving around a lot, doing a lot of walking at home in the bad weather. So I needed to get out and get some walks. So what I've been doing is getting to the ballpark early, about 7 o'clock, go for a nice little stroll around the complex and do that a couple of times. And that's really helped. So the time being down here in Florida has made a big, big difference. But, I've been looking forward to doing this game, doing a game for a long, long time.
Little bobble, but in time to get him at first base. Santander set down and back up to the top of the order, and Chris Davis. What do you miss the most about broadcasting baseball? It's so much in your blood. You're moving into your 4th decade of doing this. You're in your 4th decade of doing this.
Yeah, I just love baseball. I love baseball. I love the job that I have. I love the people that I've worked with. I mean, it's just fun for me, and I just can't imagine stepping aside and saying, well, that's it. I'm tired of it. I mean, I never get tired of baseball, and I don't get tired of the broadcasting part of it either. So it's a nice diversion from everything else that was happening. And
Davis pops that one over third. Long run out. It's going to dunk down for a base hit. With a big overshift on. He winds up with a single. Well, bunt for him this time, though.
Yeah, one thing I think we've noticed in this game so far, there have been 3 times that there's been a shift on, that the Orioles have tried to bunt the baseball to the opposite field. Now, this is not going to be a bunt. This is going to be a swing, and it just bloops in. You can see where the third baseman, DeJesus Jr., is playing, so there's no way he can get to that ball. That's something you don't expect Davis to do, is just drop one into the outfield there. But I think this is part of a plan by the Orioles, because you're going to see a lot more guys bunting against the shift. I really believe that.
Machado 0 for 1. I think a lot of fans would hear that and go, it's about time.
Yeah.
If they're going to give you that hit.
Dave, you can bunt down there and beat out a ball at first base. There's no question about it. I mean, you got nobody down there. All you got to do is get the ball on the ground, and you got yourself a base hit. You don't do it. I mean, you don't do it if it's a 1-run game and you're a power hitter, obviously. But, you're trailing by a few runs. You need a base runner. You need 2 base runners. Why not do it?
Machado with a chopper. DeJesus starts it in a second one on to first and not in time. Did get the man in the middle for the second out, but no double play.
Yeah, that didn't look like two from the beginning because DeJesus Jr. had to go toward that line at third base. And Nunez was trying to, it looked almost like he was making sure he got the one out there as the ball kind of took him into the runner a little bit. And he couldn't get much on the throw to first base from that position. Hustling down the line was Machado when he beats it out to keep the inning going.
You know, even once in a great while, you would have seen David Ortiz drop one down.
Sure. Yep. I think there's going to be more of that. Hitters are trying to do everything to defeat that shift.
Scope 0 for 1. He's popped to first. Wind gusting out to center. Been pretty windy here in Florida the last couple of days. Next few days going to warm up here again. We're not whining about it. Temperatures in the middle 60s. It's a whole lot better than back home where they announced the Boston temperature at 34 degrees when we got underway, about 64 here. But it's supposed to get back up close to 80 over the weekend. We wish you were here. 2 balls and 1 strike.
This is a great complex, too, where the Orioles train. It used to be a terrible ballpark, Ed Smith Stadium. And since it's been redone, it's one of the best, if not the best, spring training complex in baseball.
Yeah, I was chatting with Buck Showalter when they came over to JetBlue recently, and he said, there's no question. He said, this is the best place, meaning Ed Smith, for getting work done for fans, and it has been voted number 1 in all of baseball, in fact. Although I'm not sure where they made us park our car. I think that's about 14 blocks away from the press box.
Parking is at a premium here at this ballpark, but we'll eventually get back, and no problem. We have tomorrow off, so we can just take our time, stroll the car, stroll back to down 75.
Yep. Then more games over the weekend. Runner goes, swung on and missed, and down goes Scope on strikes. No runs to hit, 1 man left. Red Sox leading 5-2 in Sarasota. They get 10 consecutive spring training wins. And we'll bring up Ivan DeJesus Jr. and Ed Marrero and Mookie Betts, scheduled hitters against Mike Wright. Red Sox have been swinging the bats here a lot in recent games and are doing it again here this afternoon against the Orioles. Orioles have bolstered their starting pitching, but their closer is down with a nasty Achilles injury, Zach Britton. They're still going to have a pretty good bullpen, but pitching, that could be a real problem for the Orioles. Adding Cobb really helps. DeJesus Jr. with a double his first time up. He slaps that one to the right side and tracked down by Scope. 1 away. Now, the Red Sox and the Yankees are in discussions to play a 2-game series in London next summer.
2-game series all the way over to London, across the pond, to play 2 games.
Yes, all the way across the pond. This will be a great trip for you, the Beatles fan that you are.
I will definitely go to Abbey Road.
You definitely will.
Yeah.
And do the walk maybe without shoes, barefoot.
Do the walks, check out the studio. Of course, 2 days, we're not going to have a lot of time.
No.
Or sleep.
Marrero, the batter, an RBI single his first time up. In discussions at this point, the Red Sox reportedly would be the home team for both of those, meaning they would lose 2 home games.
Yeah.
And against the Yankees, no less. So I think that's part of the
Where are they going to play? Do you know?
I have no idea where we're going to. If that does take place, would they put together a baseball facility at Wembley? Could they do that?
That would be interesting.
I don't know if they could even do that.
Be like when we played at the Coliseum in L.A.
Cut and a miss for strike 3. Being told that the discussions are to have it take place at London's Olympic Stadium. Again, should it come to pass. 2 down. Mookie Betts, the batter. Mookie with a double, an RBI, and he struck out today. And you are a Beatles nut. You have the full catalog. And all the great inside dirt on the Beatles too.
Yeah, I think that's one thing it's on my to-do list is go to Abbey Road Studios. I'd like to do that, but I don't like traveling that much. So we have this issue.
Yeah. What?
What do you do? I mean, do you get on a plane and fly just to see that?
And you're soft shoeing it when you say you don't like to travel much. 1-1 to Mookie. Deep short and through past the dive of Machado for a base hit, and Mookie keeps on swinging the bat. He had been 6 for 9 over the previous 3 games, and he has 2 hits today.
Yeah, good time for Mookie to run too. He got 2 outs in the inning, try to get in a scoring position. He's got 1 steal on the spring and has been caught twice. That's another part of the game, as you get later into the spring that you want to kind of get down a little bit, get accustomed to getting those jumps at first base, those slides in the second base. You don't like to do it early in the spring, but you try to save your legs as much as possible. But there is timing involved.
Jackie Bradley 0 for 2. Hit the ball well last time up. He stung a line drive. It was caught by Jones in center. It's so funny. I mean, a guy can have the success that Mookie's had, these last couple of years, roundly considered one of the handful of best players in Major League Baseball. And yet he starts the spring in this hole. And when he gets his first hit, after going 0 for 16, he reacts like, oh, finally, the weight of the world's off my shoulders. And I know he was playing around with some of it, but you guys are amazing because you can bat 300, you can hit 30 home runs, you can make all-star teams. But you're 0 for 16 in the spring. It's like the world's coming to an end.
Absolutely, because you want to get a hit every time you go to the plate. And when you even in spring training, if you start off poorly, you're not in a good mood.
They get a few different kinds of enrichment, like one each day.
Trying to hold up with a swing and a miss.
And the best thing is it doesn't count. So it doesn't count, but you still. You want to have things clicking, and very few things click early in spring training. But as you get toward the end, that's where you want to be feeling good about your game.
Mookie is right now.
And the simplest form of the destructible is just giving them all.
And Wright thinking along with you there.
Yeah, good throw to first right there because I think Betts thinking about going with the 2 strikes.
Nunez on deck. That single by Betts, the 7th Red Sox hit today. Not running on this occasion. Now he's off, and he's caught in between. He's trying to get back, and he's going to get back.
Well, there's a case where the catcher, Cisco, he's made a couple of bad plays in this game so far today. The throw, obviously, the third base last inning was not a good one. And this is one where you've got to go out and take a few more steps toward that runner, make him commit one way or the other. And he was just kind of standing there waiting for Mookie to commit, and that's not the way to do it. You've got to make him. As a defensive player, you've got to make him go one way or the other. So it's almost like you run directly at him. Then once he commits, that's when you make your throw.
3-2. Betts does have that amazing capacity to get back or make you pay for a judgment decision, lack of judgment. He'll be taken off here on the 3-2 with 2 down. And a rocket foul by JBJ. Opening day next Thursday, Red Sox against the Tampa Bay Rays. The Sox, the first 6 will be on the road this year. There goes Mookie again, and that is in there for strike 3. Caught him looking Side retired, still 5-2 Boston. Before you head out the door in the morning, watch Boston 25 Morning News. They'll tell you what's happening where you live. You'll get weather and traffic every 10 minutes. And what's really helpful, they'll tell you how to get around the backups. Everything you need to start your day off right here on Boston 25. Jerry Remy back in the booth here for the first time this spring, and will be throughout the remainder of our games. We have several more, which will be on Nesson the rest of the way, including 2 against the Cubs next week, right before we head for Tampa. Adam Jones leading off, taking a strike from Velasquez. Jones with a base hit first time. It hit 26 home runs, 73 runs batted in last year. So far, Velasquez has allowed 5 hits, including a home run by Tim Beckham. And struck the ladder right behind the fence out there in left center over the head of Jackie Bradley Jr. 2-1. You and I were down in the dugout before the game, Jerry, around Alex Cora with all the assembled media. Gave his pregame press conference. 2-2 on Jones, and I think he's growing into the role, and you can actually see it over the course of spring training, how he's grown into the comfort level.
Yeah, he's been very involved, in everything that's going on, and I think the biggest adjustment for him is now, when you get into these late situations, to strike out there, Dave, when you get into these late situations where you got to make these final few moves, because you've got to deal with options, you've got to deal with different things, and those are areas where Cora's got to rely on his front office, but very comfortable in what he's been doing so far. He's had his finger in just about everything that's going on during camp, going, the backfields to watch the injured guys pitch and then come back to the main field, and they've done a lot of fundamental work. He loves the home games, obviously, because that's when they can really get out and get stuff done. It's very difficult when you come on the road. You take batting practice, you play the game. So the Red Sox are going to be on the road the next 3 days, today, tomorrow, and the day after. So it's good that they finish up at home and they get a chance to, put that final touches on all the stuff that they've been working on, cutoffs, relays, pickoffs, things like that.
Mancini's 0 for 1 with a roller to short, and he knocks that one foul. And maybe it's a little thing, but early in spring training, when Alex would do his press conferences, it'd be deluged with questions about well who's pitching tomorrow, who's pitching Tuesday, who's going to be in the lineup, and every once in a while he'd be like, I'm not entirely sure. Let me find out for you. Roll there to DeJesus at third, and 2 fast outs. And so as the spring has gone on, he has begun, bringing notes.
Yeah.
To all of these briefings so that he could answer those questions right away. But he wasn't afraid to say, hey, I don't know. Let me find out.
Yeah, I'll get that answer for you.
I'll get that answer for you. Just, and then changing how he approached some of those. And it's a little thing maybe, but it was important to the press, and it was important to the guys and gals who write the Red Sox and report on them every day. Colby Rasmus 0 for 1. He has struck out. Base is empty. Red Sox had 5-2.
Yeah, they go into the shift with Rasmus on. They've always done that. He's a dead pull hitter. He'll go to the opposite field once in a while, but most of the time, especially on the ground, it's a pull.
We were talking about Colby Rasmus just walking away from baseball in the middle of last summer while with Tampa Bay. I was reading a little more about him and about that situation. He said, I just felt empty. Felt like I'd been drained playing baseball. His brother Casey, who is a 24-year-old catcher in the St. Louis organization, he did the exact same thing. He just walked away from baseball and retired at 24. So 2 pros in the same family just In this case, of course, Rasmus has returned to baseball. He's trying to make this team. Trying to stick with the Orioles. 1-1. And Hector Velasquez trying to do the same thing with the Red Sox. He has a lot of company competing for a spot in the rotation. Still open questions about Rodriguez and Wright for the Red Sox. And as TC's mentioned, Stephen Wright is working today. He's supposed to go 4 innings back at JetBlue. And we'll get an update on that as soon as we can. Stephen's been really saying all spring, don't write me off of that first series. But I think Alex Cora said today he thinks that's 50-50.
Look at Valencia. Look where he's standing on deck. He's almost like he's not far from the batter's box, for crying out loud. And I'll tell you what, there was a time in this game where if you were that close, I've seen pitchers actually throw at guys in the on-deck circle. I'm not kidding you. I've seen that happen in regular season games. But, I mean, he's right up there timing him as close as he can possibly be.
Nunez with the pick. And a smooth inning for Velasquez. Gets him 1-2-3. Fifth inning in Sarasota. Red Sox to bring up 3, 4, 5 in the batting order. That'll be Eduardo Nunez, J.D. Martinez, and Christian Vasquez. Vasquez is 2 for 2 with a home run. And Mike Wright still out there. Red Sox striking for 4 of their 5 runs in the second inning. The inning in which Vasquez homered. Mookie Betts is 2 for 3 on the day with a double and a single as well. Vasquez with 2 hits. And Nunez looking for his first. Eduardo talking about that knee and how frightening that was during the playoffs last year, that first at bat against Houston and Verlander when he just crumpled coming out of the batter's box, and that was it for him, and how he delayed showing that he was completely healthy, until February, including the Red Sox in any kind of a tryout situation, giving him a look because he wanted to make sure that knee was healthy. And he finally did work out. It was obvious that he had recovered.
That's interesting because you got Pedroia, who's doing very, very well in his comeback from very serious knee injury. I have been so impressed this spring with what I've seen from him so far, and they're taking, baby steps with him. But I'm going to tell you, Dave, I don't really think it's going to be all that long. And now I'm not saying we're going to see him in April, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to see him in May because he's doing a lot of stuff. I mean, he's swinging the bat, taking ground balls. One thing he's limited right now, they're trying to keep him from a lot of side-to-side motion stuff. So it's very limited on the ground balls.
Base hit to right. Nunez will dunk that in, and he is 1 for 3 today. That's one of the things Alex Cora's talked about is infield defense, and he's feeling a little better about it right now. Base hit by Nunez the other way.
Yeah, the foot goes in the bucket a little bit, but the ball goes to the opposite field. So a pretty good piece of hitting right there by Nunez. And, he did a nice job for the Red Sox last year, obviously, before he got hurt. And they're looking for that guy that can fill in till Pedroia gets back. And Nunez is that guy.
J.D. Martinez, 2 flies to right, 0 for 2 today. He goes to right again, driving back Rasmus, still back all the way to the wall. It's off the wall. Just missed one there. Nunez taking off for third. And now they're both going to keep on coming. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's offline. The run scores. It caroms back, so Martinez stops at third. And the Red Sox add another 6-2.
That'll probably go as a double and an error because Adam Jones was backing up Kobe Rasmussen, and he bobbled the ball out there. Now, there's some of that opposite field power we were talking about by J.D. Martinez. Now watch the ball come off the wall out there and then bounce and be bobbled by Adam Jones. There you can see Kobe Rasmussen. He goes as far as he can. He can't get it. A good job backing up here by Jones, but he drops it right there. And that's what brought another run in for the Red Sox and allowed J.D. Martinez Martinez to go to third. So I would be surprised as a double, and then also an error on Adam Jones.
If so, it'll be the second one charged to the Orioles. So Martinez at third base. Red Sox with a 4-run lead. Vasquez with a home run and a single on the day, and he has scored both times. Red Sox with 9 hits. Popped him up. On comes Rasmus and Jones with a catch, and JD will be held at third. So 1 away. Travis next.
An infield defense that time was playing in, not all the way in because they don't have to. JD Martinez does not run all that well at third base. So when you're in a situation like that, the infield doesn't have to come all the way in. They got to come in just a few steps, and that will hold them in at third base. Now they're doing basically the same thing. They have Martinez still at third base, 1 out, and Sam Travis up, but they'll go to the plate if he takes off.
Travis with a walk and a single. Last time up, he grounded past Davis at first base. No, they're not going to charge an error on Jones. Instead, that'll be a triple for Martinez.
What a gift. Thank you.
It's been that kind of day.
Actually, it's a tough error to get because he really did a nice job hustling over there to back up the play.
Yeah, you don't want to penalize him there.
Yeah, but the fact is that run wouldn't have scored if he didn't bobble the baseball.
Gold Glove outfielder. Two and 1. Swihart on deck.
Well, I think 89 might have been throwing.
Cisco with a good stop. Athletic young catcher, one of their top prospects. He's had kind of a tough day today.
Yeah, nice job sliding to his right, especially with that man at the third base right there to block that ball. Actually, almost just about catch it and keep Martinez at third base.
3-1 for Sam Travis.
Has a nice job behind the plate. Does it again.
Ball 4. So Travis aboard for the third time today. First and third for the Sox with 1 down, and Blake Swihart and Roger McDowell, pitching coach, headed out. Hey, we have not had the opportunity to talk about this with you. The new rule this year of 6 mound visits per team per 9 innings. Are you for it?
Yes, I'm for it. I was also for the 20-second pitch clock, which didn't come in this year, but I can bet you that it will come in next year.
I agree. Because they can circumvent the players union next year, having proposed it, and in fact, it got shot down this year.
Right.
So I totally agree with you that next year you are bound to see it.
And I'm looking forward to it because that will definitely speed up the pace of the game. And if the hitters don't cooperate, you got to ring them up. You got to call strikes on them.
Move it along. Pace of play, such a huge initiative in baseball. Swihart is 0 for 2. He's grounded out and he's popped up. Martinez at third after a triple to drive in a run, and Travis at first after ball 4. Looked like halfway through he wanted to hold up that swing, but too late.
Yeah, now with the first and third situation, the Oriole infield back in double play depth right now and trying to get 2 to get out of this inning.
And right fires a 1-1. And talking about athletic catchers, and that's certainly something that Blake Swihart would give the Red Sox. And that rarity, a catcher who can run, even though he'd play multiple positions. On the depth chart, he's behind Vasquez and Leon at catcher spot. 1-2. Nice. Served into center field. Yes, very nicely done down for a base hit. Martinez will trot in. Red Sox lead it 7-2, and Blake Swihart delivers. Fine spring continues for him, and that'll do it for Wright. Here comes Buck.
Now he reaches for this. You can see it. It looks like a changeup. He's on his front foot, but able to serve it out there towards center field to pick up the base hit. I mean, that's just good hitting by Swihart. You got a man at third base. You don't want a ground ball because you don't want a double play. Get the ball in the air, get it to the outfield, run scores.
Pitching change here for the Orioles, and we'll be back in Sarasota in just a moment. Well, the Red Sox did Mike Wright no favors in his bid to make the Orioles starting rotation as a 5-man. He goes 4 1/3, gives up 10 hits, 7 runs, and don't miss the final 4 days of Red Sox spring training on NESN. It starts Saturday afternoon at 1. The Red Sox hosting the Houston Astros, the world champs. And then Sunday at 1, taking on the Twins at Hammond Stadium, and then close spring training with back-to-back games against the Chicago Cubs. Sox with a couple of men aboard and a couple of men in. And Pedro Araujo coming out of their bullpen. He relieves Wright. Selected by the Orioles in a Rule 5 draft from the Cubs 2017. DeJesus Jr. with a high pop-up and Scope out there to make the play for the second out.
Another chance here for Marrero. You know, he got the job done back in the second inning with 2 outs. He picked up a base hit to drive in a run. He's got that same opportunity now with a man at second base.
Devin 1 for 2. Nick Cafardo, the Boston Globe, reported a few days ago that Devin has drawn interest from other ball clubs. He is a superb defender. No options left for Marrero. So that makes his case rather intriguing as he looks at a strike. He's in the mix right now. Helped himself with an RBI single in the second inning. Two out and the 0-1. Araujo has made 7 appearances this spring, and all of them have been exactly 1 inning in length. Betts on deck. And down he goes on strikes to retire the side, but the Red Sox keep on scoring. 2 more on the board. 7-2 Boston.
The Pro Shop is the official.
Welcome back. Meantime, back in Fort Myers, minor league game against the Orioles going on, and it's significant for a couple of reasons. Stephen Wright made the start for the Red Sox, and reports from journalists there say he went 4 innings, 4 runs, 6 hits, and 4 walks through 63 pitches. So command problems as he builds up his workload. And then Craig Kimbrell came in, his first appearance in any sort of game since returning from Boston. He and his wife, of course, had been up there at Children's Hospital with their daughter Lydia, who continues to improve. Kimbrell faced 3 batters, and he struck out all 3 of them. Probably not fair to those Orioles minor leaguers that Craig Kimbrell came in after they saw the knuckleball for 4 innings, guys.
And not fair to a lot of major leaguers either. You know, come April, May, June, July. Thanks, TC. Red Sox with 1 defensive change. Santiago Espinal will take over at short. And on top 7-2. Craig and Ashley have been through so much. Their little girl, Lydia Joy, with another heart surgery, but it's great to have him back in camp. And obviously he has not missed a step, just as Alex Cora said. He's been getting in all of his work. He's been throwing. He's in great shape. Nobody was the least bit concerned. And then his first appearance, he strikes out 3. Craig has talked about the amazing people at Boston Children's Hospital taking care of their little girl, and he can't say enough great things about them. And he said, look, she's going to be in and out of that hospital probably for the rest of her life. And he's so thankful that those doctors and nurses, all those physicians, those wonderful people are taking care of their little girl.
Just puts into perspective what's really important.
Valencia, the leadoff man here in the 5th inning. Red Sox leading 7-2. And slap foul. They're talking about Red Sox winning 9 in a row. Chance to win 10 straight here today. They've never won 10 in a row in spring training. And just exactly what that means. I mean, so many of the early games, in particular in spring training, the result is absolutely meaningless. But if you put together a little win streak maybe a little later, ball 4 to Valencia, does it mean at least a little more?
In my opinion, no.
No, I'm not going to convince you of that.
No, and I'll tell you why, Dave. Because you know, until you get a situation where you're playing 9 innings with all your players together and you're doing the things that you would be doing in the regular season, now those kind of games mean something. Now you're trying to get everybody in game shape. Get them ready for the start of the season. But as you can see, we've already got changes. We're here in the 5th inning. There's already been changes made with people who will not be in the big league. So, I was a little bit intimidated to come in here after a 9-game winning streak and have the Red Sox lose one today. And I would have to use one of my options, and I still got all my options left.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they got the lead anyway.
We're not exactly worried about you. Great to have you back in. I don't know how you do it. This is your first game back, and
I don't know how I've done it for this long. I have no idea.
like you never left. I mean, you don't miss a beat. You did it last year too when you came back at the end of the season. We had such a great time with you and Eck. As a 3-man booth, and I know you heard it a ton over the winter. I heard it a ton. People just love that.
Yeah, it's fun, and I was never a big fan of a 3-man booth, but when some are good, some are not so good, and it just happened that my opinion, I thought that clicked very, very well. And Eck and I have known each other for a long, long time. And
well, that was the thing. You were teammates.
Yeah, it was fun. We had a lot of fun doing that.
Hey, Jerry, was it true that you went on the backfields and called some minor league games like a 40-word count early just to build your strength up a little bit?
Deep shot here by Cisco, and the wind is going to carry that one on out of the ballpark. Well, he does have pretty good power. He goes to the opposite field and knocks it into the stands for a 2-run shot. Their second home run today.
That's one thing when you play the Orioles, they're never really out of a ball game because they have so much power, and Cisco showing good opposite field power that time. Remember earlier in the game he tried to bunt for a base hit, and then this time he goes the other way for the home run.
So that'll cut the Sox lead to 7-4. Velazquez had walked the leadoff man Valencia, and a 2-run shot by Cisco, one of their top prospects in their system.
Actually, I drove up with TC this morning, and I was practicing, so I was cheating a little bit coming up here, just going over some plays in my mind and talking to the window.
Yeah. Which is not the least bit irritating.
No, not at all.
For the guy next to you.
Yeah, not at all.
Santander here, he is 0 for 1, having grounded out to third. This guy's got 16 RBIs this spring. And another prospect. Well, the Orioles have played a lot of their regulars here today. Big cut and a miss. Well, great to have you back, but we cannot wait for the real thing next Thursday. I know for a lot of us, we're getting to that point in spring training. Okay, the exhibition games, that's fine, and I know a lot of players still have work to do and jobs to be won, including on the Red Sox. But you want to see this ball club play. Play real games that matter in the standings.
Absolutely. And, spring training, in my opinion, is too long. And I just feel that, if you could cut, maybe 7 to 10 days off spring training and maybe that amount of games, I think that would be just about perfect. That's the way it used to be. And, I think even the players, they've been down here so long since early in February because of the early start this year of the season. I think they're certainly ready to, break camp, get out there and play things for real.
Buck Showalter was saying the exact same thing when I saw him at JetBlue. Cut a week off, he said. The pitchers need it. They need to lengthen out and they need to be ready, but I'm not sure it applies to everybody. It doesn't apply to your third baseman.
Absolutely no. Specifically, the position players. I mean, they've already got enough at bats. They've taken enough ground balls. It's time to play ball, and the pitches have been handled very, very well this spring.
Sounded like he busted his bat, popped up, and charging on behind. He'll make the catch anyway. Velasquez hauls it in, and here comes Alex Cora. With Chris Davis on deck, he's going to make a move. So that'll be it for Velasquez. Winds up giving 4 runs on 6 hits, couple of home runs today. We will take the break as well. Red Sox will dip into the bullpen. 7-4 game here in Sarasota. Well, here in the bottom of the 5th, the Orioles have tagged on a couple of runs. It's now 7-4 Boston. And the Sox will go for Trevor Kelly, 6'2", 210, right-hander and a sidearm specialist.
Yeah, wow. Watch the delivery from Kelly as he steps almost toward the Red Sox dugout, drops down to the side. Have to be very, very difficult on right-handed hitters. He gets to face a lefty first, though, in Davis.
Goes after the first one. Boy, he's been in no position today to even take a pitch. It seems like he just wants to swing every time up.
Yeah. Well, look at this. Look how he drops down to the side and almost submarine style pitching right there from Kelly.
Kelly was at Salem and Portland last year.
Ooh, good combio right there. Nice changeup to Davis. So different look from that different angle.
Davis tried to bunt his way on in the first inning. Bunted back to the pitcher. He's since singled. Rolls over on that one. And Espanyol will set him down.
You notice I dropped a little Spanish on you there in the combio.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Is that is actually a word?
I hope it is. Yeah, I think it is changeup. Yeah.
The 2 away. Machado has flied out and hit into a fielder's choice. Base is empty.
Why to cool off when somebody's cold beer?
Machado started the day at .419, 3 homers, and 15 runs batted in. He's had a very good spring. And a 2-0. Got a piece of that one. Also today, the Red Sox have brought along Carson Smith, Joe Kelly, and Robbie Scott to get some work in. Carson with 10 Ks in 7 innings.
He's going to be a key to that bullpen this season for the Red Sox. When he's healthy, and he looks to be healthy this spring, he's got nasty stuff.
We saw a glimpse of it last year, but he wasn't quite all the way back at the end of last season. Still threw the ball very well. Low throw, and Travis could not dig it out. So Machado will be safely aboard at first on what should have been out number 3.
Yeah, that was just a little bit of a lackadaisical play out there at shortstop. You know, He comes in right here, and he knows he's got a pretty easy out. And he didn't let it go. He just kind of flipped it to first base, and it was too short. Travis can't come up with it out of the dirt, but that one certainly goes on the shortstop right there because you got to let it fly. You can't take anything for granted.
Espinal with the E6. They'll send up Scope, who's gone 0 for 2. He drove in 105 runs for the Orioles last year. There'll be a big offense again. And a mile-high pop-up. Racing in, Jackie Bradley losing a cap, slides down to make the catch. That was a battle, but he hauls it in to retire the side. Couple of runs in for the Orioles now, 7-4 Sox. Blue skies here in Florida. Red Sox leading the Orioles 7-4 with the 6th inning coming your way. Red Sox trying to make it 10 consecutive spring training wins. And we'll be at the Yankees tomorrow with Brian Johnson. It's been such a big story in camp. Trying to lock up one of those jobs in the rotation. He'll be taking on Masahiro Tanaka. Then on Saturday, Chris Sale on the bump against the Houston Astros. We will have that game for you on NESN. Chris Sale announced by Alex Cora to be the opening day starter against Tampa Bay, a team he dominated last year, as he dominated just about everybody. Spectacular season for Sale. Mookie Betts leading off here in the 6th inning. He's doubled in a run and singled. He's 2 for 3. The Red Sox pitchers, Jerry, and I know you've talked to a lot of them, have been very happy with the schedule. You know, with this kind of odd spring, still getting in their work, but not overloading on it in the spring training.
Yeah, exactly right. A lot of the first couple of outings for them were not in major league games. They were pitching against minor league players.
Knocked down by Araujo. He'll pick it up and throw high, but get him. 1 away.
And you can see the numbers so far this spring. Porcello in his 3 starts, only a couple of walks, 12 strikeouts, 4 starts for Brian Johnson. Sale's been unbelievable, and David Price has been very good also. And I've been very impressed with Price. You know, to me, David, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I think he is, you know, if I had a telestrator, I'd be circling him right here because I think he is the key to the rotation this year. You get Sale and you get Price back to back. You get Rick Porcello back pitching the way he's capable of pitching, and you got as good a top 3 as anybody in baseball, really.
Oh, can't disagree.
And I've watched David, you know, on a couple of occasions on those back fields, and he looks like he's got the same stuff that he had last year in the playoffs.
Valencia, a little trouble with it, and a late throw. Safe at first base, Jackie Bradley. He's aboard for the first time today. Jackie took a massive swing on it and hit a trickler, and Valencia had difficulty with it.
Yeah, in many ways, this has been somewhat of a sloppy defensive game. There's Valencia coming up, and the ball just pops right out of his glove. By the time he comes down, with Bradley working out of the left side of that batter's box, doesn't have a chance to get him. So that's going to go as an error on Valencia down at third base.
They've made a couple. They could have been charged with 3 already.
Yeah. It has been real clean for the Orioles defensively.
Nunez 1 for 3, a base hit for Eduardo. Tags that one, caught by the third baseman back into first, and in time for the double play as Jackie Bradley gets doubled off at first base. So that will retire the side. Still 7-4 Red Sox. Back in Sarasota, bottom half of the 6th inning, Dave O'Brien, Jerry Remy, and TC alongside. 7 runs, 10 hits for Boston. And 4 runs on 4 hits for the Orioles. Have made a couple of errors. Red Sox with a bunch of changes. And Matheny now taking over in center field. That is Tate Matheny. Ryan Scott is the new right fielder. Looks like Jordan Betts is the new third baseman. And Nick Lovello is the new second baseman. Torrey's son. Travis stays in the game at first. Swihart still catching. And J.D. Martinez still in left. And you are, as they say, up to date with Joe Kelly on. And as we mentioned, Jordan Betts, the third baseman. Joe Kelly has held opponents scoreless in 5 of his first 6 appearances, struck out at least one batter in each inning. Most recently struck out 2 in a scoreless inning on Monday against the Phillies. So Joe looks ready to go. 54 appearances last year. 2.79 ERA. And one of the big fastballs in the majors.
Yeah, one thing they're trying to get Joe to do. Well, I'll have more on that later because we have TC right now with Jackie Bradley Jr.
All right, Jerry, thanks very much. Yeah, Jackie Bradley Jr. wrapping up his day. We've been talking a lot through the broadcast, kind of getting to these late days of spring training. You start to take stock. How do you feel and where you're at right now? You feel ready to go?
Yeah, feel good. Season's right around the corner, so things are getting exciting.
Listen, there was another snowstorm back home last night, all right? So it feels like it's time for baseball down here. Maybe not back home, but these final days, what do you do? What do you look to do over these last 4, 5, 6 days to work on before the season?
Just continue to, put in the positive reps, getting timing down, defensively, making sure your body is feeling where it needs to be, whether it's footwork and arm strength and accuracy. Just make sure you get the fundamentals down pat.
Jerry was talking about the length of spring training, especially for the position players. It can be long, can't it? Is it important to make sure we duck and to make sure that you're pacing yourself because it is such a long stretch here in Florida?
Yeah, it is. Obviously, spring training's mainly for the pitchers. Making sure you get, getting their arms conditioned. But as position players, you got to make sure that you continue to put that work in. But don't want to, tire out too fast. You want to, build your way up slowly. That way you can go through the season strong.
Jerry said take a week off it. You ready to sign off on that? Spring training, 1 week less, and we'd be good to go, he said.
Yes, absolutely. Whether we have a choice or not.
Yeah, I don't think we have a choice on that. That last catch you made, wind kind of blowing in. It was a shallow fly. Sort of take us through that. Tough play?
No, wind wasn't blowing in. Wind was blowing out. Normally, that's supposed to be an infielder's ball, but, knowing that the wind's blowing out, they might not want to get their hands on that ball. So, we kind of got to run in and try to, fight everything you can to try to make the play.
Jack, I'll ask you last thing. Alex Cora kind of wrapping up this first preseason with him as a manager, his first time as a manager. Take us in the clubhouse a little bit. What's he been like as the new manager of this team?
He's been great. It's been a very, very competitive team. Everybody's been going about their work the right way. And been able to win ball games. Not like it really matter right now, but it feels good to win and having that mindset.
So you got smiles. Winning beats losing. Doesn't matter what you're playing, right?
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Thanks, Jackie. Appreciate it. Jackie Bradley Jr. getting ready. He goes in the clubhouse. We go back upstairs. Guys.
TC, thank you very much. Great to have that vacuum cleaner back there to clean up plays like that pop-up. With that wind gusting out, here's Mancini. Joe Kelly blowing away Adam Jones there, first man that he faced.
That was interesting at bat because he started him off with soft stuff. He had a couple of breaking balls early in the count, then put him away with that lightning fastball that Joe Kelly has.
Mancini's grounded out twice. So Jackie's saying exactly what you said, Jerry. Spring training could stand one less week.
Well, Dave, there were a couple of years when I was playing, we were either on strike or locked out. And we had to come to spring training and get ready in 2 weeks. And we did it. We had 2 weeks with the games, and that was it.
It can be done.
It can be done. There's no question about that.
And look, I know a lot of businesses and a lot of ball clubs here in Florida are cringing listening to this because, it's big money.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's big money. So, people come out and they plan vacations and they fill the hotels. And, this ballpark is packed. JetBlue is packed every single ball game. Never a situation where it's not since they opened. I get that. This is an economic component here that you can't overlook. But for the players, they're ready already. I guess that's the point. They're already ready to go.
Yeah, I think, 1 week of workouts prior to starting maybe 2 week spring training schedule, and I think you're ready to go. Now, that would be taxing, obviously, for the pitchers. There's no question about that. But I think for a position player, he would get the proper amount of at-bats that he needs. And, that's why now spring training is expanded as much as it is. That's why you're seeing so many guys in camp because it'd be impossible to play your regulars all the time for this many games.
Kelly's 2-2 could not get him to bite. Swihart on the previous pitch took one off the arm, so something to keep an eye on there. Still shaking it.
Take a look back at that play from Swihart. You'll see the ball bounce from Kelly right there, and it looks like it got him right off that right arm. Throwing arm.
And a 3-2 to Mancini. Base hit. 1-out single for the number 5 hitter. So Mancini on in front of Kobe Rasmus. Now, Red Sox home opener this year will be on April 5th at Fenway. Can't wait for that. 2:05 in the afternoon. That's a Thursday. And the Red Sox will then have a day off the next day before finishing up the series with Tampa Bay. Another day off. And then the Yankees come in to Fenway Park for the first time.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
3-game series, and then Baltimore. Then we'll see the Orioles for the first time beginning on the 13th of April. Yeah, a lot of buzz. The most I've felt in quite some time about Red Sox Yankees coming into this season.
Well, it has potential, to be, two very good ball clubs. They go out, they get Giancarlo Stanton very early in the offseason. That kind of set the tone for things. And the Red Sox, of course, became interested in J.D. Martinez for the home runs, that he delivered last year. And it's kind of interesting. You see the first 3 games very early in April and at Fenway Park, all night games. And the thing about both clubs is they're both young. And so you got players that are probably going to be together for a long time, which helps create a rivalry. There's no rivalry if one of these two teams is, not in the pennant races. There's no rivalry. You try to promote it as one, but it's not really the case. Both got to be up top fighting for a division.
Sky high pop up in foul ground. Swihart giving chase along with Kelly, and neither one of them will make the play. As that falls in.
There's a case where Swihart had no chance because, all day we've been talking about the wind. And the wind blowing straight out, and that was going away from Swihart. The guy that had the best chance at it was Joe Kelly. And I think he's probably disappointed he didn't make the call and the catch.
A lefty hitter up there, so Jordan Betts, third baseman, was playing shortstop.
Yeah.
Mancini on with 1 down. And Kelly looking for his second K in the book. Runner goes. Here's the throw. It skips. And it also skips into left field. Mancini up and running into third, and he'll dive in safely.
That looked like a delay steal at first base by Trey Mancini. And a delay steal is designed, as you can see right there, how late he goes, is kind of designed to fool the infielders, to catch the infielders sleeping a little bit. That ball's inside. You see the delay right there by Swihart, and he throws it in the dirt. He wasn't expecting Mancini to go. Now, if we can go back to that, I can explain the delay steal and how that works. And I think it's a lost play in baseball. I think it's a great play, especially for guys that don't have great speed in stealing bases.
2-2 to Rasmus. Knocked down by Swihart. No advance at third.
When you do a delay steal is you try to take 3 steps towards second base and you try to take off. You see him leading off right here. 1, 2, 3. And when the ball goes by the hitter, that's when you take off at second base. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to fool the infielders. You're trying to catch them sleeping because you have a tendency, at contact to be looking at the hitter and not the runner. And that's why you take those. He kind of like took 2.5 that time and took off. But perfectly, it's 3 by the time that ball gets right to the hitter. And that's when you want to go.
Wooden chase in his ball 4. So first and third for Baltimore. And for Valencia, walked and scored a run in the 5th inning. I don't know. It seems to me last year we saw certainly more efforts, on the delayed steal and more double steals a year ago.
Yeah.
Than we have in some time. Red Sox tried it on several occasions.
I love that play. I always have since I broke into baseball, and it basically built for guys that you don't expect to run, and that's what it is. You really never take your eye off of Mookie Betts at first base. You don't, because you expect him to steal. But the guys that don't steal a lot, they can get away with some stolen bases, by just putting infielders asleep.
Kelly pounding in strike 1 on Valencia. Red Sox with a 7-4 lead in the 6th inning.
Of course, you see what it did to Swihart also, because he was surprised. He kind of double clutched a little bit, and that caused him to make a little bit of an errant throw at second base. So I love the play. I really do.
Each side with 2 errors today. In tight. And with Kelly's fastball, you're going to hear it in tight. And Joe with a 1-1. With a breaking ball and knocked down by Swihart. Something Blake has done a lot of this spring. Really worked hard on doing exactly that, blocking that pitch in the dirt.
Yeah, he's got one off the right arm. This one, I think, took off the left arm.
If you're just joining us, the wind has been gusting out all day, and it's carried a couple.
Hopefully that gives us a tailwind going home. Pick up 10 minutes.
Did not get the call there, and the count goes to 3-1. Is TC driving?
I pulled a veteran move this morning. I didn't give him the option. I got out of the car when I saw him pull into the parking lot.
Hey, TC, stay right there. That is a veteran move. You've done this before.
Many times.
Trying to come back from 3-1. And he's walked his second consecutive man, so that's going to load up the bases for the Orioles. And bring out Cora. Alex will make a move. So that'll do it for Kelly. Base hit, couple of walks for Joe today. And leaves the bases loaded behind him. We're going to take the break right here. Red Sox leading 7-4, but the Orioles pressing the matter in the 6th inning. Now left-hander Robbie Scott inherits a bit of a hornet's nest here. They're all loaded up with one man down. Red Sox trying to protect a 7-4 lead. The left-hander now into the ball game for Boston. He's held opponents scoreless in 7 of his 8 outings, including the last 5 in a row. Get caught up on all the day's news with Boston 25 News at 10. If you want to know what's going on, watch Boston 25 News at 10.
You know, Dave, there are times in spring training that are big times, and I think this is a big time for Robbie Scott trying to make the ball club. Bases loaded situation, left-handed coming to the plate. He's got to get him out.
And that man is Chance Sisco. Belted a 2-run homers last time up down the left field line. And that's going to be ball 1.
Dropping down to the side is Robbie Scott threw a breaking ball on the first pitch. Sisco did a pretty good job of staying off that.
No place to put him. One man away. Man the 1-0.
Now that takes the advantage away right there. Lefty against lefty. He threw 2 breaking balls. He didn't chase either one of them. So now he can sit on a fastball on a 2-0 count with the bases loaded. That doesn't mean he's going to get it, but he's in a position just to focus in on that type of pitch.
Well, they like this young prospect a lot. Here comes the 2-0 to Chance Sisco. And that runs in for ball 3. So now Scott has to throw a strike. Mancini at third, Rasmus at second, and Valencia the runner at first. And through there for a strike. Bill Welke, the home plate umpire. Umpires get their work in spring training as well. All filled up and a hitter's count for Sisco. Here's the 3-1. And that's a strike.
Yeah, the crowd didn't like it because Swihart dropped it. They thought it was going to be a ball, but that's a pretty good pitch. Very good pitch right there by Scott, right down the middle. About knee high, fastball, and just dropped by Swihart.
That's a regular season kind of situation here for Robbie Scott. He brings the 3-2. That one tied him up at a ground foul.
Boy, Red Sox have broken a lot of bats of the Baltimore Orioles today.
So Sisco off to get a new one. It's unlike, a regular season game where the bat boy would already have the bat ready to go. In fact, more than one, and bring them up to the batting circle. You can even see Bill Welke slapping his hand saying, "Let's go." So all filled up here for the Birds. 7-4 Boston in the 6th. Another one running inside, in on the hands. Still 3-2.
Yeah, pretty good job by Sisco to foul that off. That was a very good pitch by Scott. Runs that fastball inside, and good job by Sisco to foul that off because that could have very easily been a swing and miss.
3-2, and that one ripped down the line. That's going to keep on sailing off into the corner up against the fence. Mancini is in. Rasmus right behind him. 2-run score on the double. That young man can swing the bat. That'll cut the Red Sox lead to 1.
He fouls off a very tough fastball that was on the inside part of the plate. And then Scott tries to go to the breaking ball, and he's right on it. I mean, he pulls that ball. That's an excellent at bat. He hit a home run to the opposite field early in this game. This time against the lefty, he pulls the breaking ball down that right field line to drive in a couple, and this game's become very tight.
1-run game, infield in, runners at second and third. Santander now, he's gone 0 for 2, but he leads them in RBIs this spring with 16. Scott giving up the 2-run double. And still only one man out.
You know, Cora has said and been consistent with this throughout the spring that we always question him about his bullpen and, how many lefties you're going to carry and how many you're going to carry in the bullpen. And he's never committed to carrying a left-hander out of the bullpen. He says whoever can get guys out. That, we want pitchers that can get right-handers and left-handers out.
That's right. Not committing even to one left-hander.
Exactly. So it's possible. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's possible you could see a bullpen full of right-handers for the Red Sox.
One guy who's had a very good spring so far, left-hander, the little-known Bobby Pointer. He's opened eyes. That one shot into the gap. It's going to drop down for a base hit. Valencia in to score. So Santander has been an RBI machine, and he adds another one there. His 17th of the spring to tie the game at 7.
And that really should have put the Orioles ahead, because I don't know what Cisco was doing at second base. He's going back to the bag. That ball, without question, was going to drop in. Nobody was going to make a play on this ball. You could tell from contact. And he misread that, and that's why he only gets to third base. And one of the things you're taught is when you get at second base or at any base, check the outfielders, see where they're playing, so you know if a ball's hit like that it's going to drop in, and you could have scored easily.
Here's Chris Davis. He's 1 for 3 with a base hit. Davis hasn't played a whole lot this spring because of tightness in his right elbow. So they let him off today to get some additional at-bats. This will be his 4th trip today. 2 on, 1 out. And a breaking ball will miss. So in the inning, 2 walks and 3 Oriole hits have tied up the ball game. They've scored 3 times. And a chance to take the lead with a go-ahead run 90 feet away. Got jammed big time there. Travis fires home, close and safe. Cisco gets underneath the tag of Swihart, and Baltimore takes an 8-7 lead.
Now that's really the only choice right there that Travis had at first base. He's not going to get the man at first base, right? You can see, because there's nobody there. So he's got to come home with it. The throw's a little bit high, and Swihart, when he swipes the tag on, is going to be a little bit late. A very aggressive play. So, he made a bad base running play not to score on the previous play. Then he makes a very good play here to score on that one.
And we talked about him being an athletic catcher. He certainly is that. Avoiding the tag, so the Orioles, a little chopper there in the infield by Davis, have surged into the lead with Machado due up next. So 4 runs across in this inning for Baltimore. Now, scoring runs, certainly not a problem for the Orioles. Even last year when they finished 75 and 87, it wasn't a problem. It was about pitching. They had a franchise worst 5.70 ERA from their pitching staff. Machado today 0 for 3, reached on an error the last time up. Just 1 gone, and the 1-0. That's a bullet, and that's fair down the line. 1 run is in. Davis chugs into third and stops there on the double by Machado. 9-7 Baltimore.
Now this is really an opportunity for Robbie Scott that is not going very well. Machado pulling that ball right down the line, and anybody but Davis, that would have been another run on top of it. But these are the kind of things they're looking at. You know, you come into that high pressure situation, and things have not gone well for Robbie Scott since being in the ball game.
Well, here's Jonathan Scope on the day. He's hitless. He was thinking about touching them all right there, as he often does. He had 32 home runs last year, batting almost 300.
Red Sox pull the infield in, and really off the first base bag is Sam Travis by a long margin, almost halfway to second base.
Wooden chase, 1 ball, 1 strike. Orioles going with a lot of regulars deep into the ball game, with Davis, Machado, Scope, Jones, Mancini, all still in the game. And they pile up 5 runs here in the 6th inning. And the breaking ball in there. Second and third for the Birds. That's another guy you got to worry about, getting it up into that jet stream out there to left center, because it will take off. He doesn't need the wind with his power. Scott, the Red Sox 4th pitcher into the ball game. He delivers a 2-2. To center field. Matheny racing back. Time to make the play. The runner will tag at third. Davis will jog on in to score. They add another to make it 10-7. Machado advancing second to third. This has been an ugly inning for the Red Sox staff. Orioles have batted around here. Scope will pick up the RBI. Here comes Alex Cora again. So Baltimore with a 10-7 lead. And Scott now out of the ball game. Another pitching change for Alex Cora, and we'll have that when we return to Sarasota in just a moment. Now, Red Sox are trying to find somebody to get through this inning on the mound, and they're going to bring on Matthew Gorse, the youngster out of Alpharetta, Georgia. 6'1", about 200 pounds. Red Sox chose him with the 12th pick in the 12th round back in 2016. He was at Greenville and Salem last year. So all A ball, his numbers in 36 appearances, and pitched well in 75 appearances, or a 7-5 record, and made 27 appearances at Greenville and 9 more at Salem. He's trying to stop the bleeding here with a runner at third in Machado. And Adam Jones, the batter, he's 1 for 3 with a single. Try to hold up, swing and a miss. So the Red Sox have used 3 pitchers in this inning. He checked his swing. Brian O'Nora set at first base.
Swihart had a busy day behind the plate today. He's got hit in both arms with balls that have bounced in the dirt. Had to block a lot of pitches behind home plate. Another one right there.
He's earned it today. Blake was a big story coming into camp. And he's had a very good spring. There's a massive cut and a miss by Jones, who really wanted that one. 3-2.
Had himself all geared up for that 3-1 fastball, and big swing, but no contact.
Red Sox trying to strike him out for the third time. To the shortstop. Espanyol will fire on to get him and finally retire the side. But that was an ugly inning, one of the uglier innings all spring. Now 10-7 Baltimore. Well, the Orioles just put up half a dozen runs. They have jumped in front of the Red Sox as we go to the top half of the seventh inning. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien, and Tom Caron with you from Sarasota. Thanks so much for being with us as the Red Sox make their way to the final week of spring training baseball before opening day a week from today at Tampa Bay. Jolie Rodriguez is the new left-hander, one of several changes here for Baltimore. Facing J.D. Martinez. J.D. on the day is 1 for 3 with an RBI triple off the right field fence. Vasquez on deck. J.D. 45 home runs last season. Splitting his time between Detroit and Arizona. And at last, after a long winter, he signed with the Red Sox for 5 years in late February. He hit 16 home runs in September alone last year. And tied the National League record. So he became the Red Sox #1 free agent target for a club that finished last in the American League in home runs. Rolling that one up the middle. And they'll sling on to get him.
Machado's still in the game and doing his job going up the middle that time. He's had a couple of really nice plays in this game today against the Red Sox. One backhanded play earlier in the ball game, had a long, strong throw to first base. This time going to his left.
Well, that was a position change that 0 people were concerned about.
Yeah,
going third to short.
There he is, getting his footwork down right in a proper position to be able to make the catch, to throw, and record the out at first base.
Vasquez has blasted a home run and singled. He's gone 2 for 3. Now, Christian, with 5 home runs last year, Red Sox believe he's going to hit more than that in 2018.
I got one in the ball game today, and that was in his very first at bat to straightaway center field for the home run.
Been the DH today, with Blake Swihart handling the catching. 0-2 from Rodriguez.
Another look at the home run by Vasquez earlier in the ball game. Is that pitch right down the middle and goes right with it, right up the middle, right straight to the dead center field. Got up in the wind a little bit. It helped it some.
Two and two. I don't think the Red Sox would be surprised at all if he doubled that home run total this year from 5.
Yeah, that's certainly capable for him to do. There's no question about that.
Compact stroke. Here's the 2-2. Travis on deck. As Tom Caron mentioned earlier, Stephen Wright over in camp at Jet Blue with 4 innings today. Here's the 3-2. Behind the bag, Valencia steadies, throws, and got him. Close play, bang bang at first base, but he's out.
Almost simultaneously, you could see Vasquez making the save sign as he crossed the bag, but the umpire making the outside. Nice play by Valencia. He has to go very deep to the outfield, checks the label on the baseball, and then makes the throw. Almost cost him at first base, but Vasquez thought he beat it. That might have been a replay during the season. That's Vasquez making the safe call, but the umpire making the out call.
To middle, and down goes Travis, and the Red Sox hit the ball on the ground 3 times. Quick out here in the 7th, 10-7 Orioles. Training baseball continues here today from Ed Smith Stadium in Sarasota, Florida. Dave O'Brien, Jerry Remy, and Tom Caron alongside. Baltimore has built a 10-7 lead. Red Sox had the early fireworks. Sox are going to make a couple of changes. Most notably is that man, Carson Smith, could really be huge in Alex Cora's bullpen this year, and he's been very sharp so far this spring.
Coming back from that Tommy John surgery, and second year back after that, and started to look more like himself toward the end of last year for the Red Sox, and Red Sox expecting big things out of Carson Smith.
As mentioned, 10 strikeouts in 7 spring training innings. Struck out 3 in consecutive outings against the Orioles and Toronto. Last year began the season on the DL, coming back from Tommy John, which was performed in May of 2016. And then pitched well down the stretch for the Red Sox. In fact, scoreless appearances in games 2 and 3 of the division series against Houston. And even then he said he was not 100% back. He feels like he is now in this camp. Alex Presley first man in, and that'll be strike 1. And when Carson is really cooking, when he really has that ball doing what he wants, there are divots everywhere on the infield because they're just hammering it into the ground. Bounding ball, and here is Lovello to throw quickly in a close play, and got him.
Oh, got a lot of close plays today too.
Yes. Thank goodness there's no review in spring training.
This has been a little bit of everything in this game today here in Sarasota.
Well, just for you on your return to the booth, right?
Yeah, but my 9-game winning streak's in jeopardy. I may not be allowed to work on when's our next game?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, I think we'll find a way to get you back in, regardless of the outcome of this thing. It's a pretty good trade-off for us. Great to have you back. I know I speak for not only everybody in Red Sox Nation, but our entire crew. Just wonderful to hear your voice again, and you sound like you're in mid-season form, man. It's incredible. Not sure you're supposed to be allowed to do that. To work your way a little bit like the rest of us.
Well, when you've been bad for 31 years, you just stay bad. It's
right.
Very easy.
Yeah. Rasmus in this one has gone 0 for 2 with a walk and a run. Bullpen will be a real strength of this Red Sox team. Anchored by the phenomenal Craig Kimbrell. Valencia on deck. Bases empty. 1 down, 10-7 Baltimore in the 7th. And Smith looking for another ground ball. Red Sox do shift on Rasmus. A strike.
That's a pretty tough pitch right there. Rasmus a pull hitter and paints that outside corner with the fastball. Trying to get him to hook it, roll over, and maybe hit a ground ball into the shift.
And the righty deals. And got him.
Slider.
That's a money pitch for him. 2 down.
You know, his ball is very difficult to pick up. It's almost like shooting darts, as you can see him throw right there, and then right back to the inside corner to pick up the strikeout. Just catches Kobe Rasmus looking at that one. I called it a slider. I'm not sure on that second look whether it was or was not. It looked like it was a little bit off speed to me.
Yeah, kind of unusual movement. I mean, it's been said before of Carson's stuff. Unusual movement. So tough to pick up. And time asked for and granted to Valencia. As TC reported earlier today, his first activity of the spring, Craig Kimbrell struck out 3 men in his inning of work. Talk about falling right back into things. Last year, Craig Kimbrell struck out 49.6% of the batters he faced.
That's amazing. That's an amazing number.
You fell 1 punch out shy of 50%, which would have been the 3rd such season in the history of Major League Baseball. And he had at least one of those immaculate innings. I know Rick Porcello had one of those. And Kimbrell may have done it twice last year. 9 strikes, 3 strikeouts. This doesn't happen very often, not at this level. Driven to right field. Scott on the move with plenty of room. And another good frame out of Carson Smith. He gets him 1-2-3. For 50. 10-7, the Orioles in front. And the Red Sox will bring up the bottom third of the batting order against the new pitcher, Michael Givens. Right-hander went 7-1 at .293 ERA in 39 appearances at home last year. And had a .248 ERA on the road. He led Oriole relief pitchers in victories with 8. He can be a very tough customer. Set career highs in games, innings, and tied his career high in wins.
A good solid pitcher, throws from the side. Very tough against right-handed hitters.
Dan Butler will bat for the first time today, batting in Blake Swihart's spot. Blake did have an RBI single. And Jordan Betts on deck. Mookie had a good day at the plate. While he was in the contest, he had a double and a single. Continues to hit it well. That's to center field, dead away. And a nice leaping catch there by Mullins. Just into the ball game seconds ago. And timed it for the grab.
It's been an adventure out there towards center field today. A lot of balls hitting that direction and that wind blowing out, as we mentioned. And there's been a lot of action out in that area. You see right here, reaches over the shoulder and he got the sunglasses on, almost like he lost it for a second in the sun right at the end, but reached up and able to make the catch.
Jordan Betts, the batter, spent all of last year at High A Salem. He showed some power. He hit 13 home runs. Into right field. That'll dunk down for a base hit. So Betts is aboard with 1 down.
So do you think when that guy introduces himself, he's like, "Hi, my name is Betts"?
The Sox have their 11th hit today.
Mentioned the home runs, this time going the other way and just blooping it. Out between the second baseman and right fielder for the base hit.
Here's Santiago Espinal. Nick Lovello on deck. His dad did such a fine job of the Red Sox and then a terrific job as the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nick's a Holy Cross product. Swung on and missed, and he is quickly retired. Espinal out on strikes. So there are 2 gone in the Red Sox 8th.
That's 3 strikeouts from the 9 spot. Marrero had a base hit in the 2nd inning, a drive and a run, then a couple of strikeouts, and now Espinal striking out down there. So 3 strikeouts out of the 9 spot today, plus the base hit and an RBI.
It's not like the day that somebody else is going to.
So Lavello batting here with a runner at first and 2 down. Pedro Alvarez, an interesting story. He's taken over at first base for the Orioles, and particularly with the injury to Trumbo, which will start him on the DL beginning of the season, Alvarez hopes of making the ball club have really improved. A sinking line drive that'll be caught by Sardinas and retire the side. No runs a hit, 1 man left. We're in the middle of the 8th inning. Orioles by 3.
Live spring training
To 7, and before you head out the door in the morning, make sure to watch Boston 25 Morning News. They'll tell you what's happening where you live. You'll get weather and traffic every 10 minutes. And what's really helpful, they tell you how to get around those backups. Everything you need to start your day off right here on Boston 25.
You know, Dave, I once did the weather on Boston 25 many years ago. Kevin Lemanowitz was there, and I actually did the weather report one night.
How'd you do?
Not real good. You know, it's weird because you just go like a green screen behind you.
Yeah.
And like all the other activities going on to your right or left or center, and you're kind of trying to give the weather, and it was really weird to do, but I managed through it. I got through it.
Yeah, did you get paid for that gig?
No.
Still coming. Tommy Lane out of the bullpen. Tommy so far a solid spring. 5 appearances, 4 1/3 innings, and he is not allowed a run. You've done a lot of things that
I wish I hadn't.
You wish you. I was going to say, isn't that true of all of us? Man, I wish I hadn't done that.
I actually had fun though. It was a fun thing to do. It was kind of unique. I always thought all that stuff was right behind you, you know, when you could see it, but there's nothing behind you but a green screen.
Yeah, it's hard to master that. I think.
Very hard.
And Kevin's been doing it for a long time. He's really good at it, very smooth, but it's very strange. Now let's take a look at the 5-day with Jerry Remy.
Yeah, that down here, the 5-day here is supposed to be really good. Weather warming up a little bit.
This is an easy forecast here, if you ask me, as Austin Hayes gets in.
Well, it's easy in the summer, especially. It's going to be 95 and humid with thunderstorms coming in about 4:30.
That's it, man.
Every day.
You can't be wrong. It's going to rain somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hot. Weather's been a big star this spring training for the Sox and for everybody in Florida. Very little rain. 3-1. Wrap toward right. Scott on the move, can't get to it. Into the alley, up against the fence. Hayes to second will pull up with a double as the throw comes into third.
Well, Cisco had a home run and double in that spot, the 8th spot. Now they come in and another double here in the 8th inning to lead off.
Yeah, Austin Hayes with a 2-base hit.
Yeah, he finds that gap in right center field. Scott going back. He thought he might have had a beat on it, but he didn't. Old time scoring right there.
Wow, somebody's still keeping up here. Look at this.
Yeah.
In the 8th inning of a spring training game. And just beside himself with excitement. So leadoff man is on. Santander has been an RBI man all spring. He's now driven in 17. He's the batter here with a man at second. We got to look into you getting paid for that gig, man. I mean, that's just the interest alone on that has really racked up. That weather forecasting thing. I'd love to get a hold of that tape, actually. To the shortstop, friendly bounce. Espinal will set him down. Down to third is Hayes with one away.
I bet it's available at that station. I really do.
Guarantee it. Everything is today. The old days of broadcasting, if you did something in 1974, forget it. It's gone. They never save any of that stuff. Those VHS tapes have all melted, but these days they save everything.
Yeah. I think I recall, too, it was a pretty easy forecast to give. There was no big storms coming in. They wouldn't have let me on, obviously, if there was a big storm coming in.
Would not have let you near it, right? As Davis takes a ball, I should say in for Davis is Alvarez.
Red Sox in the shift on the right side, playing in, trying to cut down a run here late in the ball game.
Big wave and a miss by Alvarez. David Letterman was a weatherman in Indiana.
Is that right?
Yeah, before he started in comedy, he was a weatherman and came on one night and he terrified all of Indiana by announcing that it would hail the size of canned hams. People were terrified.
He's back on the air actually right now. He's got a show on.
Did you see that beard he's swinging now?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not so sure, but
I don't think he's shaved since he left. Was it CBS?
Yeah, I think you're right, and it's a frightening thing. It looks like the old man from the hills. A really white beard. I hear the show's pretty good, though. Yeah, the interviews are pretty good.
I have not seen it yet. I've seen a couple of commercials for it.
1-2 from Lane. That one ate him up. Alvarez down hacking for out number 2.
Exactly what Tommy Lane wanted right there. You get the man at third base trying to stay away from contact. He does. He gets the strikeout. Now with 2 outs, the infield can move back and try to make this a scoreless inning.
I'll send up Andrew Susak, who's doing the catching now. We're in the last half of the 8th inning. The Orioles with a 10-7 advantage. Game turned in the 6th inning when they poured across 6 runs. Hayes on at third, and the 1-0 from the lefty. He snaps in a breaking ball.
I think the future weak hitting third baseman. Well, weak hitting's said much, but I feel like I feel like his defense is going to go. It's kind of going to be a Weeders, like what we just turned into.
The Orioles got off to a very good start last year. They never really could sustain it because their pitching was frankly quite bad, particularly in the second half. But with the signing of Alex Cobb this week, a lot of people kind of sized up the Orioles a little bit differently than they did with their initial predictions.
That's one thing. As I mentioned, I was speaking with Dan Duquette about a week ago back at the ballpark in Fort Myers, and when the Orioles were in town, and he was concerned, obviously, about the pitching. And he says, our ball club's pretty good. We got some power. He says our bullpen's good, but we've got to get stronger. And they made that move to get Cobb, and that certainly helps out.
He's a veteran, proven guy, particularly in the American League East, where he's had success. Even he said that. He said, I know one of the big reasons they're interested in me is because I've pitched in this division and pitched pretty well.
Yeah.
That means a lot to Duquette and the Orioles. And he's going to walk him. Susak will take his base, first and third here. So the boost to the rotation for Baltimore. His career against the Red Sox, he's done good work. He's a Boston kid. He was born in Boston. Career at Fenway, 5-1.
Now, he used to throw a lot of changeups, an awful lot of changeups. In the last couple of years, he hasn't gotten away from the changeup, but he's mixed in a few more fastballs, which I think has made him a little bit more effective. But you're right, he's got great numbers against the Red Sox, and especially at Fenway.
Sardinia's the batter with runners at first and third. Now, as a kid, he went down to Florida, in fact, over at Vero Beach. That's where they moved to from Boston, and he was a bat boy over there over at Dodgertown. I think he still has them. He got a pair of batting gloves from David Ortiz. So I think he still has to this day. On to second for the Force to retire the side. So last chance for the Sox as we go to the 9th inning. 10-7 Baltimore. So back for the 9th inning. 10 runs on 9 hits for the Orioles. 7 runs on 11 hits for the Red Sox. Each side has been charged with a couple of errors.
You know, the Red Sox usually bring a traveling party, of course, to all the games, and they switch up sometimes with the clubhouse assistants that come. Well, Dino has come on this trip today, and Dean was a clubby when I played, and this I call him kid, but he's no longer a kid, but he looks no different than he did when I played. I mean, this kid did not age. Dean Lewis did not age one bit. He weighs about, I'd say, 97 pounds, eats like crazy. And he used to sign my baseballs for me sometimes. You know, if we had to sign autographs, he got my name down very well. It was kind of like Jay Ray, and he would sign that. And Dino's the master at walking around. Nobody knows where he is, who he is, but he can eat like crazy, never put on a pound. And he's in charge, actually, during the season of getting the game balls ready for the umpires.
So he's made a deal with the devil as far as not aging at all.
I mean, it's unbelievable. It's amazing. I come in every year and I go, when are you going to look different? You know,
yeah.
No gray hair.
And he can eat anything.
It's all he does is just eat.
There's something not right about that. Not aging, never gains any weight. Probably the reason he still looks like he's,
Yeah. Dean Lewis.
Same. No?
Yeah, Dino, I call him.
Well, shout out to Dino, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, he's probably in the clubhouse now eating. He's eating the spread before the game's over.
Ryan Scott tried to hold up, and he did. Hitting a Jackie Bradley spot. Jackie made a nice catch on a very tough play. Made it look very easy, but a very tough play on a ball hit to shallow center with that wind gusting out earlier. Jackie got the start in center. Mookie Betts in right. Eduardo Nunez at second. J.D. Martinez in left. Christian Vasquez was the DH today. Had a good day with a home run and a single. Mookie had 2 hits. Fly ball well hit into right field. Hayes all the way back to the wall, and he'll make the play reaching up.
Didn't even have to jump. And I think that ball might have got out of here if he didn't make the catch.
I thought he caught it.
And Scott sent it for a ride. Just short.
Look at this ball. Is it going to go out if he doesn't make the catch? He didn't even have to jump for it. Really just put the glove up. It's a very low wall. I think it would have been out.
It was gone.
Yeah.
Tate Matheny now for the first time. He stings a liner foul. Madera on deck. So unless the Red Sox can put up a big time rally here, the 9-game winning streak in the spring here will come to an end. It will be little noted should that happen.
Start a new one tomorrow. Take the series. Take the series, right? Win the series.
Exactly right. And the 0-2 will be on the corner, according to Bill Welke, for out number 2. The plate's opened up a little bit.
Well, it's after 4 o'clock, and it's almost time for the early bird special, and that plate has a tendency here in Florida to open up.
You might be exactly right.
It's a 2-for-1s.
Got to get those deals. So the bases are empty for Chris Madera. Little looper here, and that is going to drop down for a base hit. So the Red Sox are still alive on this day on a single by Madera. Josh Tobias will get an at bat. And the DH spot, that's where Vasquez hit today. And again, Christian slammed a home run and singled while he was in the contest. Sam Travis on deck, hoping for an opportunity to bat here in the 9th.
That's because you're a pariah.
Catcher calling timeout there, letting them know that Alvarez, the first baseman, is playing behind the runner at first base. You don't want him trying to make a pickoff attempt over there, and there's no first baseman. That's because of the 3-run lead. Left-handed hitter up.
Tobias splitting time last year between Salem and Portland. At Salem, he appeared in 21 games at .345. He's a switch hitter, 5'9".
Yeah.
Out of Greensboro, North Carolina. In fact, he was acquired from the Phillies in the Clay Buchholz trade in December of 16. 2 strikes on him. Our next broadcast will be on NESN on Saturday. Back at JetBlue against Houston, the defending world champs. 0-2. Popped into left field. Presley coming on, and we'll put it away to end the ball game. Your final score today: Baltimore 10 and the Red Sox 7. Jerry, great to have you back, my friend.
Great to be back, Dave. We had a good time.
The Rem Dog has returned. That's the end of the 9-game winning streak for the Red Sox. But join us on Saturday, Red Sox and the Astros on NESN. I'm Dave O'Brien for Jerry Remy and Tom Karen. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great afternoon.